Hi everyone and welcome along. Now January can seem like a cold, dark month, but every now and then you get the most amazing frosty morning and a bright, beautiful landscape. So today I'm going to show you some really simple winter watercolour landscapes. So grab your paints and let's get started. So we did these in summer, basically the shape of a Polaroid camera photo. So that's 3.4 by 4.2 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some washi tape and I'm just going to create a border on these. I didn't actually do it I didn't mask them off quite in the same way in the summer ones, but I like to try new techniques, new things. So the washi tape goes round the top and the sides, and this just means we get more freedom with painting our washes. And then we put this one in just a little bit higher. We're making a rough square. I'm just doing it by eye, but if you want you can always measure it properly, but that looks good to me. So get those ready and then we can start painting. Right then, we're going to start with a really simple one, just using two tones. We're going to have a sort of orangey sky and a Payne's grey land. And I'm going to begin by wetting my page about 2/3 down. And with my size 8 brush, I'm going to take a little bit of cadmium orange, a little bit of permanent rose just to make it a little bit more blushy, and I'm just going to sweep some colour down and just let it seep in there. Whilst that's drying, I'm going to take my sort of wash brush again, and I'm just going to put a little bit along the bottom, knowing that I've left quite a decent gap of dry space. And I'm going to take some quite concentrated Payne's grey and I'm going to just sweep it across that middle bit and just create a bit of a landscape there. And in doing that, we've got a lovely crisp line there, but then we've got a lovely sort of bleed down, which almost feels like the light reflecting on a piece. And then the only other thing I want to do is to take a very, very, very dilute amount of the Payne's grey and maybe just sweep a little bit into the sky. Such a small amount. And what I want you to think about is about the imagination and how, yes, it looks like just some sweeps on a page, but if you allow yourself to see it as a serene and peaceful winter landscape with the contrast of that emerging glow in the sky, contrasted with the crisp, deep, shadowy landscape, suddenly you're looking at the most amazing, desolate sort of atmospheric landscape. And it looks really cool as a Polaroid, so you can always write a little note on there, but that makes a really cool little gift card. So let's try another one and maybe add in just a little bit more detail this time. So this time I'm going to approach this one in a similar method. So beginning with a clear wet section. If you feel concerned that you're not going to remember how far you've painted your water down, you can either mark it with pencil or just remember sort of where, if you've got a patterned washi tape, whereabouts it might fall. So I'm going to add a little bit more colour to my sky this time. Got some permanent rose and I'll get that. Oh, that's lovely. Mix that orange a bit more pink, and then I'll get some yellow ochre in for the last bit of sky. And I'm just going to let that settle. Now, so often when you're doing a watery landscape, you're going to get a reflection of the sky above in the water below. So, with that in mind, I'm going to bring it quite close so there's only a little sort of letterbox of unpainted space, and I'm going to do just a slightly muted version of what's going on top, underneath. And now, with my Payne's Grey, and to get a bit of interest, I'll use Moon Glow this time because that's another fantastic colour. What I want to do is to get, there we go, a little hint. I've created a tree, look at that. That's so cool. That's exactly what I wanted. So to essentially just touch the top. Now it's going to keep bleeding and blending, so we're going to need to add a little bit more, but if I also just skim it a little bit there as well, we get ourselves a really nice sort of sense of a reflection above and below. So I'm going to let that dry for like maybe a minute, so it's still going to be wet, but then I'm going to come in with an even deeper, darker colour. So I'll add some Payne's Grey to my Moon Glow, get it really nice and intensely dark, and we'll just pulse in a little bit more colour. Now, I'm kind of tempted to just leave it, and it looks really fun, really cool, but for the sake of filming and teaching, I'll do what I intended to do, and I'm just going to add an extra little sliver of darkness. You can always add a few little dabs here and there. It looks really cool. So another really simple and effective little landscape, and just the satisfaction of peeling off the paper. Oh, I mean, it's only just dry. I'm taking a little bit of a gamble, but I'm impatient, and this is one of my favourite parts of the whole thing. There we go, another gorgeous little landscape. Really pleased with that. Okay, we've got time for one more. This last one, I'm going to just use this brush, and I'm going to sort of start layering up some colours. So I'm going to start with buff titanium, and I'm not using quite so much water on my brush this time. I want to get those little bits of texture, little bits of dry brushing, and I'm just sort of angling my brush quite low to the page to get some really nice interesting colours going on. A bit of raw umber in there as well. And this time I want to do a little bit of splattering. So I'm going to get a little, oh actually I could just use another bit of tape to just mask over this area here to just protect it. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat this morning. So I thought let's do a little bit of a Payne's Grey splatter. And because the page is only a little bit wet, we're going to get some really interesting textures forming from that. On the dry page it's going to stay nice and crisp. On the wet page it's going to sort of seep in a little. And now, so I'm just sort of playing around with textures really and wetness, and I'm going to, as before, create my sort of my mountain range or my landscape at the back. But what I thought was quite interesting about this is it reminded me of when sort of birds form in those clouds in the sky, and particularly at the moment they seem to be doing that a lot. So let's see if we can create a little something of that. So I'm just making a very sort of swirly, quite sort of rough scribble of a brush with a wash of some buff titanium, and I'm going to just sort of let that seep in and settle in for a moment. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to try just splattering, like I did there, into the sky and just see if we can get that sense of the birds. And I think moon glow might be a fun one to do it. And remember, this is all about it being abstract. We're using our imaginations and allowing the sort of wonders of watercolour to create things that aren't clearly trees or birds or mountains or cars. They are suggestions of it, and we let the human eye do the rest. Okay, so I'm going to take some moon glow now. I'm going to see if I can get that splatter. So what's going to happen is that's going to seep in, and I think what we'll do is we're going to do another layer of it over the top once that's dried. Okay, let's see what I can create then. So I've got some Payne's grey here. I'll do another little cluster over here. And there's something kind of fun about that. So we've got 3 very serene, simple little watercolour landscapes done using different techniques, and a lot of them are based on just having a little bit of confidence to play around and try out new things. But what you're left with is a very rather chic set of little sort of Polaroid snapshots, aren't they? And here's the other one. And there you go. So have a go. If you're feeling a bit sort of overwhelmed by starting landscapes, this is a great place to start. Just look out your window, go online, look at a photo, look at photos on your phone from maybe when you were at a beautiful place, and just think about how you can boil down a landscape into its simplest form. This one here now is looking really amazingly like a sort of a tide out on a wet beach early in the morning. This one has got a wonderful sort of a pinky glow. This one's kind of mad, but I love it. And then they can make beautiful little gift cards as well. So I hope you enjoy it. And I want to say thank you very much for you all to watching, and a huge thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating videos like these that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and comment below to let me know how you got on with that one. And of course, if you never want to miss another video, then hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell, and we'll see you again next time. Bye!